Hi guys, Orion here. So I was giving some thought to what were the most important things that um, I found were critical in just understanding life, reality, um, the world, myself, others. And while there are a few of them, one that really stuck out to me is just being honest, like being honest with yourself, being honest in a situation, both on just like a very relative, like relationship with a spouse or friendship level, or if you're on a spiritual path, just being honest with what you understand and what you don't, and being okay with that, being completely non-judgmental of where you're at. Because I see for a lot of people, and this was true for myself, that when you get on the spiritual path, you encounter a lot of new things. And for a lot of people, encountering something new that is not understood can be vulnerable. And it's easy to immediately want to grasp onto the new subject and just believe it. Or completely reject it is the other response that's common. Because if you can reject it, then you kind of like know that it's not true. So in a way, it's known. Um, Really understanding truth, reality yourself is an uncomfortable thing sometimes because you really are left in a place of not knowing um, either way, which is much more challenging than knowing one way or the other often. Um, so how can this translate to your life in a positive way? Well, I advise you if you're seeking or part of a religious practice to, of course, give yourself to it because you really won't find out anything unless you really commit to something and go forward with some diligence and um, just real pursuit. Like you give it your attention, you give it your truth, you give it your all. That being said, a lot of great spiritual teachers, religious leaders will tell you that like don't take my word for it, and it's true. You don't want to take my or their word for anything in particular. At the same time, you don't want to reject it. That's the same thing as just taking a stance that I already know something. Um, and it's a very different, open-hearted position. Um, because it's really easy to have some experiences and then say to yourself, "Oh, I know God, I know reality, I know how it all works." Um, and even the deeper you go into these areas of understanding truth, reality, subject matters, this is true across science, history, like great philosophers and scientists will even tell you, like, the more you know of a subject, the more you go into it, the more you realize you don't know. And this is true in my experience of looking into self, God, reality, the nature of the mind, what it means to be human. You accumulate a lot of information and experience and understanding, which has value and it can really impact you and create a positive change in you and in how you impact others. But you're also left with this, at times, comical, like, but I know less. I know less. I really know less. And to me, that's a sign that you're getting closer to understanding something. It's really counterintuitive, but I don't think I'm alone in this, and it's really amazing to hear like when you hear some scientists or mathematicians say the same thing, like the more you kind of dive into a subject, the less you know about what's going on. Because you can always peek at the periphery of like, oh, I understand this, but wow, 1,000 more things opened up. And that's a place that I call like really being honest and not knowing. Um, so yeah, if you're on a particular path and you find yourself meditating and doing yoga, or maybe some shamanic breath, or um, psychoanalysis, there's just an infinite amount of stuff to look into, and it's intimidating. You should never feel like you need to have it all wrapped up and known. It's generally coming from a place of insecurity that you feel like you need to know it and have it completely solved, so you can kind of like come to rest. Like something in your mind wants to come to rest once it gets the subject understood. The project is done. I can put it down. Like a lot of us want to put something down that is known. Like somehow there's safety in that, and I guess for sometimes there is. But in this subject matter of like looking into who you are as a soul, what life's about, it's good to just be honest and be a student forever. To lean on the side of like, I had some pretty powerful experiences, some truths were revealed, but let me just let it go. Real truth is something that will stay with you even if you let go of the intellectual knowledge of it. And that's a real testament to understanding. It's like an understanding that you don't understand. So if you ever find yourself in like philosophical or spiritual arguments, or you're getting too emotionally caught up, it's a good time to be like, well, do I really know what I'm talking about? How much am I really invested in this? Do I really know what I'm talking about? Like, it's okay to question yourself sometimes. It's really fine. You don't have to know everything. And especially if you're kidding yourself of what you know, you'll never actually move forward. Because the moment you go, oh, I know this, I know what he's gonna say, oh, I've heard this, yeah. Thoughts, emotions, they're meaningless, right? No. Like, you don't really know. Leave it open. There's just so much out there. Many of the spiritual traditions, in my experience, have aspect of the truth, and another one has another aspect, and another one has another aspect. And you may talk to a person one day who doesn't know anything in regards to spirituality, but you find them to be very wise, and you're like, huh, they're really pointing to something that I understand in the context of non-duality, but they're just talking about it in the context of just like their basketball team and finding themselves letting go of trying, and finding themselves in the moment of flow, and then feeling kinship and bonding, and you're like, huh, these are like spiritual matters that I thought were just limited to like meditation and letting go of the mind, but it's found here in a basketball game, huh? And teamwork, or you really start to read into like the mind of a scientist, and you're like, huh, this person is genuinely inquiring to something that they don't know to begin with, and they're trying to find out, and they're really being honest. Huh, I can feel kinship in this pursuit, because as a Buddhist, I have some of the same principles. So you can really start to be vulnerable and let in truth and honesty in ways that, if you hold on to your knowledge and your knowing, you'll cut yourself off from. Um, and that's a powerful thing, at least in my eyes. Um, so yeah, if your desire is to understand who you are, or just to become happier, be a student. Like, really don't know, and find out and experiment and find out if something's true for yourself. Even if you find a place where after a while of experimenting with whatever it is that didn't work for you, don't even write it off. Just admit that it didn't work for you at that particular time, at that particular phase of your life, because you never know. 3 years later, it could hold an amazing amount of truth, and that's something that's quite amusing to see, because I've written off many things in the past, and then I come back to them, and I'm like, oh, maybe the secret was pointing to something that I didn't really understand. There is an aspect of truth in it. It's not just mumbo jumbo, I'm going to wish this into reality. There's just many things. I'd have to think about them, but they're all over my life, and I'm sure they're all over yours. So I hope something in this helped you. I just thought of one other area where just being honest is really, really an interesting place that can leave things open. Is like is if you're into like just questioning and understanding like what is the nature of a situation, whether it's political, scientific, spiritual, like this little tidbit of seeing when you start to understand like the nature of something, and you go, oh, how do I understand that? Well, Einstein said it, or this political news reporter who I trust investigated this subject, so that because they came up with this information, it must be true, so you adopt it, and that's your information. And then you realize, wait, there's a possibility that some of that could be wrong, or there could be more to it. And you can really see this like in every area of your life, in your relationships, with information you know. Like, it's not to like freak yourself out and go, oh, how do I know anything? I mean, like, because every information seems to be based upon another person's information, and that information seems to be based upon another person's information. And if you follow it back, you start to realize there's just room for more truth and understanding to a picture of something. And at least for me, it really brings me to a place of like, I guess when I say I know something, it's also trusting another person's knowing of something. And there's just room for the unknown. And that unknown is quite a place. Anyway, I just wanted to add that last bit on. I hope you followed along with my honesty thingy. Like I said, look into it for yourself. What do you find? Let me know. Leave a comment, leave a like, and I hope you have a good day. Take care.